Hey, this is Daniel in Starbucks actually. Weird day for me.
Oh,
Yeah,
we are plugging for Starbucks now.
well, I'm actually stuck here, so if my connection drops, so you guys will know I'm actually getting a coffee. I'm
Right.
not plugging Starbucks or endorsing it. I'm probably go, yeah. Anyway, so this is episode 86 of This Week in Asia. Sorry for the last delay because there was some weird audio incidents, but we got it sorted out. Well, today at the virtual studio, we actually have quite a full house. Well, we haven't heard from Smitty for a long time. I think I want to call him
It's
Mike
only
Smith.
been two episodes.
Yes, it's been a while actually. You've
No,
been.
I was at the episode with you in Hackerspace, and then it's been a week, and then the next one, right?
Oh my god, it's so fast. I don't remember. Yeah. So how have you been?
That's good. I was on the road. I was in America for a while, and then yeah, I'm good. I'm in Singapore.
Yeah, I heard you actually went to glitzy party, did you?
To what?
You went to the Oscars.
I didn't go to the Oscars. I was in town, and a friend of a friend was up for art director Oscar nomination for Inception.
Wow.
And
Wow.
he did not win, of course, because Alice in Stupid Land won. And but we were in town and just hanging at a friend's house, and the idea was if he had won, there would be a big party. But since he didn't win, there wasn't. So
All the more reason to drink more, man.
yes. Speaking of
Oh,
which,
the
we
other
take a
voice you
drink.
hear is actually the other voice you hear is actually John Lim, who just came back from an event.
Okay, yeah. Just had a glass of red wine, chilling out right now. I was saying,
Okay. Is it a bad Bordeaux?
no, it's quite. I have no idea what if it was Bordeaux. It's just red wine. That's what the label said, and not tiger blood in any way whatsoever.
I got some white wine, so this is good. We're all whining out. I like it.
Excellent. I have a white wine in my fridge as well. We'll get drunk later on.
Then I should have just got my yellowtail and just drink it over here at the coffee shop.
Yeah, you're the strange guy in the Starbucks just talking to yourself to a laptop. wanting to
Yes,
drink.
it's in the middle of the night. You probably should be drinking whiskey or drinking wine, right?
Oh come on! I don't need my stick. Yeah, that is the guy that appeared on TechCrunch today, Mr. Bernard Leong.
That was
Ooh,
yesterday,
yes.
I think. Hi, everybody.
Was it
Depending on what
yesterday?
time zone
Oh.
you're in, it could be today or yesterday, right?
Yes. I was supposed to be back last week because I was. You guys sort of put a sideway for me for my when I was in Bali, right?
Kind of.
Yes.
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 I
So
know.
I
So
just
what's the big news?
I'm officially engaged.
Yay!
To support?
Oh,
Woo!
Woo, congratulations, man.
Yes,
I'm
I
gonna
proposed
drink
to.
you.
Yeah, I proposed to my
It's
other
a girl,
half,
right?
and she said yes. Yeah, of course.
Oh, I thought it's chalkboard. So just checking.
You're married to chalkboard.
Yeah, that's the
No,
other
it's like
that's the
this.
other life. Yeah. So
Well, but congratulations. I'm really happy for that.
yes, yes, yes. It's a lot of things coming up. So yeah. So I actually,
Con.
mm,
A lot of things coming up.
yeah,
Okay.
you probably will be seeing some soon. I'm sure. I think Smitty is catching wind of some of them. I think. Yeah, right, Smitty.
Yeah. So what? I heard you proposed in Bali, did you?
Yes, I did. I did. I did. I went to a very nice hotel called St. Regis and spent 3 nights there.
Nice. What's wrong with just like going to Chinatown in Singapore or something?
No, because the condition is that I can't propose in Singapore. So that was the given to me.
What?
Or you
You can go
cannot.
Hackerspace. It's not technically Singapore or Johor.
Technically, that Hackerspace was where I first met her. Anyway,
Wow, that's impressive.
yep. So I guess let's not talk about my engagement, right? Shall we be talking about tech news for this week or
I
something
think
like that?
so.
Well, before,
yeah.
before we talk about that, we talk about guys who actually went through an engagement and wedding and have kids, and the father of a podcast in Southeast Asia.
Oh, you're talking about
Mike,
Mike, is it? Mike have 4
Hey,
kids,
Mike.
right?
Yes, yes, I do.
Yes.
It's true. It's true. Hi, hi.
So, Mike, we're trying something new over in TWIA. We're streaming over at Justin TV. I mean, this is the first time handling it. We sort of configured the whole thing in half an hour. How was it?
It was good. Actually, it's running very well right now. Actually, we did it last week on UStream, and it gave us a bit of problems. But
It looks pretty good, but it's weird. It stops all the time, and then you have to hit play again. Is that normal?
that's the bandwidth that UStream is having. It's quite bad. So
Oh, okay.
on Justin, actually, I moved to Justin while testing UStream. I switched to Justin, and it's like streaming straight on. There's no lag at all. Well, there's lag. There's no
Oh, it
stoppage. at all.
works, but like it stops, and then you have to hit like play again. So I
Oh.
don't know if that's the like amount of.
Right.
Oh, it's not happening on my side. I mean, I'm watching the Justin TV at the same time, making sure that the output is the same. We'll let the people who are on the stream right now to let us know if you guys are seeing it live while streaming, or it's jerky. I don't know. The guys.
Yeah, it's not jerky. It's cool.
cool.
It is cool.
All right,
Okay.
and on to the news.
Well, onto the news appear in, as we mentioned, appear in TechCrunch yesterday or maybe today. Is Chalkboard. So,
Yep.
so you finally announced who invested in Chalkboard.
Yep, we gave Serkan sort of the official note that Neoteny Labs actually invested in Chalkboard, as well as if you look at Crunchbase. Yeah, that's one of the things. One of the things I thought we announced, and actually is the beta is already done, is that Chalkboard ads will be running in Friendly, which is the largest iPad app for Facebook in the US.
Cool.
So they actually did a prototype for us, and we're actually going to be showing that in South by Southwest as we are launching in the US market.
Yeah, so actually that was the other thing I wanted to know. I know your partner Somil is over in South by Southwest now.
Yep.
What is the angle in terms of what are you hoping to actually achieve in South by Southwest?
Couple of things. I think what we really want to do is to talk to the app developers in the US. We want to look at what are the most interesting apps that could actually work with Chalkboard. We're looking for partnerships, and most importantly is to make friends, and also announcing some interesting initiatives that's coming up for us. I think the TechCrunch is only the prelude. So in the next couple of weeks, there will be some things coming up. In fact, we had another news article today in Malay news, in a top Malay newspaper in Singapore as well. We're talking about us working with a particular
That's a Malay newspaper. Newspaper in Singapore.
Yes, called Berita Harian. So what they do is we work with this shopping mall for Heartland in Singapore called Joo Chiat Complex, where it's half Malay and half Chinese stores with textiles, karaoke sets, and we actually use Chalkboard to help them to promote their promotions. And we got an endorsement from one of the ladies who run a perfume shop. They're saying that we actually help them to attract customers, young customers from around the sort of MRT stations around, which is something like a mass rapid transit in Singapore for some of the audience who are listening to us. Yeah.
Right.
So
Junior is asking what role is Ichi playing in US launch?
So Li-Chi has joined us as our business development director. So I probably would sort of just tell you that part of his role was basically to help us to set up partnerships in Southeast Asia and US.
Right.
Yep.
Cool. So how
Sorry, go ahead.
No, what do you?
are you able to
Go
say
ahead.
like how many retailers you have right now?
We have about 1,373 locations in Singapore.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was the number that was announced. We're actually coming out with about 1,100 in KL. That's coming out in April. We're going to have a very big launch coming up in the end of the month. So watch out for that.
Can you announce who you partner with already?
No, we can't.
doing it.
We can't. We're doing a big PR event. I think we'll be inviting some of the social media people in KL, but I will have to check with my PR agency on that.
Junior also
Yeah. Sorry.
carry on, Bernard.
Mm-hmm. What?
So which is PR agency that are handling you guys?
I'm not sure. I need to check out with my Malaysian, the Malaysia head of sales. Actually, the head of sales for APAC. He's actually coordinating the whole thing. So I probably shouldn't comment a lot on that now. Did Neoteny help me to get Li-Chi? No, we didn't. I basically saw him was kind of he sort of changed his profile in LinkedIn, and I immediately quickly grabbed him because of his experience with AdMob. Yeah.
So Richie was previously with AdMob before it was sold to Google, and he
Yep.
was also part of. Is this the founding team of Found or?
He was actually part of Found to help them to do business development, and then subsequently, I think they have some change of directions in terms of focusing more on product development. So he decided to sort of look for another challenge.
Found
Yeah.
seems to be not really happening, right?
I think they just need to make the product better and sort of get a big launch. I think which is why they're betting all on South by Southwest. But they still have a chance. It's just that they have to deal with things like Beluga. I think Beluga is sort of the big hit for this year, right? It's already
I
acquired
think,
by
I
Facebook.
think the interesting thing to talk about here, and I think, I'm sure you're experiencing this a little bit too, Bernard, is, you know, there's this weird kind of dichotomy where in emerging markets, people glom onto the thing built in Silicon Valley, and then the thing that's built around here, whether it's better or not, has a hard time creating that same kind of vortex, right?
Yep.
So, and Founds to that, I'm sure you're experiencing it a little bit. And I think it's really a bizarre thing because if you run around and talk to people who are in this market, right? Like for an example, like when I did the conference in Indonesia, and you have these Indonesian startup people saying, "Hey, we're trying to build these things and nobody wants them." And I said, what do you guys use every day for your own stuff? And they're like, "Oh, Facebook, Twitter, and Foursquare." And you're like, so you're basically consuming everything that Silicon Valley makes, and then you try to make something and you don't understand why nobody wants it. And they give you these funny looks, right? And I think, it's a weird dichotomy. And, I've been talking with Mike Walsh, who we need to get on, by the way, and just talking about how
Yes.
these amazing things that are being built. As you know, he's kind of uprooted and he's living in Turkey now. Where he's saying there's these amazing things that are being built and used in Turkey and in other countries around them that you've never heard of and never seen. So I think this is that weird thing that happens where, if you're here and you're building something, you're never going to get the same attention as a very similar thing that's built in, say, Silicon Valley and that's at South by Southwest, right?
Yeah, I think that's something that hasn't really changed in Southeast Asia. We have this sort of attitude that we tend to believe US products are better. And so we sort of lack of trying local products. I think that there needs to be a paradigm shift in terms of that. I mean, if you look at East Asia, for example, whether it's Japan, Korea, or China, they are just like nationalistic about all the products that they make.
Yeah,
Yes.
but
then-
also like in China, you have the thing where they keep other things out, and that gives them the natural block. Like same in Vietnam. In Japan,
It's also
though,
the same with the language,
changing, right?
because there's most of the Southeast Asian startup are either built in a language where it's English or at least Bahasa. So there is a very low barrier in terms of actually for our local users use something like Facebook or etc. Back in Japan, back in China, where they speak their own language, and that is always a barrier. And that's always a natural barrier right there.
But I actually
I think
don't
the
agree
language
with
is,
that.
is definitely part of it, but I think it's a cultural thing. It's a cachet kind of thing, and I think Bernard kind of like, wow, this thing from America. It's no different than where do most of the movies come from? Hollywood, right? Where do the most music stars come from? Like, so you're in Singapore, and yeah, you have your Canto pop stars or whatever, but most of the people are going to listen to something from America. I think it's the same thing with this stuff, and I don't really know if it'll ever change, to be honest.
Yeah, I think there's a bit of a mentality gap. I mean, I'm with Smitty on this. We do tend to look at at Western companies as superior products, thanks to our colonialism. I don't know, Britons do it better. I don't know, whatever. But how is it like in the US? I mean, do people in the States, for instance, do they look down on Asian products, or do they have a condescending attitude to Asian startups or products coming from this region?
And,
It's not. I mean, we have a slight inferiority complex. That's my take on the Malaysian startups scene at the moment.
yeah, but I think at the same time, like we're the purveyors of our own destiny, right? So like
Yeah.
if you're gonna run around and and not have any sort of conviction in this problem, then you're basically continuing to add to the problem, right? So, you know, and I talked a lot about, you know, there's the who's the guy who created GNU, right? And like, if you read his "What Am I Using" thing, it's what is the guy's name? I'm spacing. The guy who can Richard Stallman.
Right.
And if you see
Stallman.
Stallman's like what am I using, right? I'm pretty sure it's called Stallman. What am I using? He's like, you know, he uses use this stuff. Here it is. I'm sorry, I'm babbling because I'm trying to find this thing on the fly. So he's using his
Richard Stallman is the father of
GNU,
Well, is it? No, GNU. That's right.
the free software movement,
And
then
GNU
he
is a GN. Yeah.
and he invented the GNU system, right? And he talks about conviction, and like if you read this thing, it's like I use a computer where even the BIOS is open source, right? And now, granted, he's probably a little bit behind the times in things like a Facebook and stuff like that, but his belief system is such that his conviction is I'm going to use the things that relatively relate to what I do and what I believe in. So I think the problem you have in like startup land in Southeast Asia is people are largely building something that they won't even say with conviction that they're going to use more than the thing that comes from, say, America, right? And I think it's that mentality. If that never shifts, I think a bunch of people are running around building something that they actually don't have conviction for, just because they want to do a startup, right?
Well, actually, that's also weird because I heard an interview from Robert Scoble, and he was that time he was working for Microsoft, and he was actually touring Google and seeing where there's this screen that shows up like beams of light, the intensity of searches, and there is a strong beam of light of people using Google over at Redmond, Washington, which is the Microsoft campus. That it shows there's so much lack of conviction over there also. But I think I agree with you, John and Mike, that there is this inferiority complex that happens in this region, especially maybe because of colonization or etc. That we always think everything west is better.
Yep.
I have a different theory to that though, actually.
Go ahead.
Actually,
Yeah.
my theory was slightly different. I don't think it's whether there's this inferiority complex. I think the fact is that sort of because there is no US story for these great innovations in Asia, that is why they cannot sort of shine. I think if you take the same set of innovations from their native market and suddenly move to the US, although the competition is greater, and if the product turns out to be good, I think they can still shine just as well.
So
Okay,
what
but-
you're saying,
okay.
is it just a lack of marketing, is it?
It's a lack of marketing and from my perspective, because some of the things that we've been doing over in Chalkboard is relatively different. Like we don't take design, we take this looking at designers and user experience people from the US to work with us instead of taking Asia, because we want to get the US feel first. And then we did something like a video that was based on what Facebook and Google hire. So we do some things in the sort of the American way to sort of focus a lot more on marketing our products. So creating that US story is very important. And somehow no startups in Asia tend to do that. I think that's a perspective that we sort of need a paradigm shift on. But that's just a theory that I have. I don't know whether,
Well, Found has a really interesting story, and the IDA of Singapore actually has the Singapore Pavilion over South by Southwest. And
Yeah.
for those who
there's
for
going
those
to
who
be
are not exactly the tech industry, South by Southwest is this huge, major. Well, it's not conference. It's like the whole Austin, Texas, over in America is going to be turned into this geek frat party. And there are how many companies? So 10 companies that will be sent there, including Chalkboard, will be Zopin, Wordster, Socialico, Sambas, Play Mula, Go to Camera, Brandology 2359.
media.
Media.
355
Yeah.
Media. It's actually one of our partners as well. I think
Most of this Found is poised to actually take advantage of South by Southwest because of what they do. They help people to create groupings of where to go next and etc. And if this is a really good test bed if it ever works out. I know, but stuff like Beluga, stuff like Good Media, picking on about South by Southwest, but this should be Found's chance to actually do something quite interesting over
Yeah,
in.
which is what I'm saying, right? Because I think you need a US story. You need to create that US story in order to move ahead. I think
And
that's
I, and I,
how.
I agree with you. That's a sound strategy, but it basically just reaffirms that if you don't do that, you won't get. Because like, put it this way: what if your business is not in America? So let's pretend for a sec that you're going there because you want to get that cachet. I get that. But what if you find out that your business is about focusing in a region where you can actually do better than you can in America, and because you don't play that America card, you're not looked at by your fellow people as being as interesting because you didn't play the America card. That's the thing I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, but that's
And
the problem, right?
that's it's kind of what's messed up. And what I'm saying is the people that
Yeah.
that are experiencing this problem are the very same people perpetuating the problem. Because
Yeah.
they sit there all day and they update their Facebook and they Twitter, and then they're saying, I'm building this thing over here, and wow, no one wants to use it, right? Or so, and maybe Facebook and Twitter become too much of a utility now to make that comparison. But in other ways, that's why I've always thought MiG-33, although they're kind of quiet recently, is very interesting. They just don't care, right? Now, the rumor is they're printing money, right? And they just don't care. And what they're saying is, I'm going to focus on this other market segment that no one's really in it anyway, right?
But MiG-33 has an interesting history, right? It started off as a Silicon Valley company, moved to
Yep.
Asia. So
Sure.
they have a
But
US story
they
to
don't
start
try
off
to
with
play,
first.
but they don't play the U.S. card at all. Like, it's very even hard to find that history anymore, right?
But isn't it true that the reason why you want to get a US story is because most of the media agencies, the big media agencies, are based in US. I mean, TechCrunch is based in US. All your tech gadget blogs and all that, they're all based in US. So that's where you get the most traction. That's where you get the most views, isn't it? Whereas if you break it on in Malaysia, for instance, not everyone's going to look at the story and.
Yep. Yeah, there's a PR problem here versus a perception problem. But I think, like what Daniel was saying, like in places like in Japan and China, they just have the whole virtuous cycle exist in the whole country, right? So the PR, the uptake, the product. But even in Japan, that's starting to break a little bit, right? Like there's a belief that Facebook's going to eventually be bigger than the other social networks that are there, and that's kind of shocking for the Japanese, right?
Well, but if you actually look at Foursquare is huge in Japan. I mean, as the second, according to an article with Asian Union, it's the second largest check-in city in the world.
Huh.
Yes.
I know, I'm still not convinced of Foursquare, man. I mean, it's been 2 years since they supposedly broke out of South by Southwest, and I'm still waiting for it to take up on a big way. But nah.
Well, I'm still waiting to claim my specials. I can't claim any specials anywhere. And what's the guy, the owner of the Bee? What's his name? Adrian.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Adrian, who runs Cool Magazine, and John is collaborating on some podcasts with him. He's been saying that throughout the whole period of time where they have the special over in Foursquare, no one has ever claimed it yet.
Yeah. I don't know. Location's not very big in KL. Location, I mean Foursquare. I don't see it as particularly big. Yeah. Okay. Should we move on?
Moving on is actually, I do not know whether this is a shameless plug, but I was supposed to announce it last week, and I did not. So essentially, a couple of TWI hosts in Malaysia, guests in Malaysia, just together with myself, we started an early stage mentorship incubator program called Grey Ethic. You can find it at greyethic.com. And the whole idea is a 100-day program to try to incubate startup in replace of the lack of funding of early stage company in Malaysia.
Have you raised any fund for that, actually, Daniel, since you're
I-
announcing
I-
Grey Ethic now?
I am not allowed to announce that at this point in time,
Okay.
but when there's something on, I will let you guys know. But at this point in time, we have a space, and we already, I think there's been quite a good number of inquiries and applications that we need to sort through about that. So the whole idea is to Well, going back to what we talked earlier, the whole idea is actually to create local startup success story and try to kickstart the ecosystem, something without government funding.
Yeah, which is a big thing for you. I mean, you're part of the you are part of the team council, isn't it? That once vetted through all these pre-seed funders applications and all that. So yeah, I mean, good on you, Daniel. When is the first intake confirmed? And going up to start up the 100 days.
I think Colin and Colin Charles, Bytebot, he and I roughly agreed that we would probably start out in mid-April. So we should get our first batch after that because we want to try to coincide this together with the major holidays of university students. University students, fresh grad will be one of our main targets.
Okay. So, okay, I just want to ask you, Daniel. I mean, in terms of the startup base in Malaysia, right? What do you think? I mean, is the government still active in this role in kickstarting innovation and startups, or are we moving on to the next stage where it's all about private investors and people doing it like by yourself, like you?
I think the government think they've done a good job in terms of creating the whole ecosystem, and they think they should move on to the later stage of funding, which is the Series A, Series B, 500,000 and above. So we will see very little money coming in on the early stage. Even it's the same thing in Singapore, but the MDA grant has kind of exhausted, correct?
The MDA grant, right? So the IGEM is going into another phase, I heard. It's coming to the end of the first cycle. I think they're making some adjustments. They're going to do a new version of the grant.
Right.
So actually, the grant is actually carrying on, but they sort of now building an incubator at somewhere near the Fusionopolis area.
Oh, the super incubator.
Yes.
So the focus is shifting, lah. I mean, it's a lot more about pushing out a product immediately, very fast, rather than we'll give you a sum of money and you'll just do it, according to the milestones and take your time with it, all that.
I think the interesting thing is because people are doing a lot of rapid prototyping now, but it's much more encouraged rather than trying to let them write a business plan or presentation to share the idea. That's actually useless in this era. The era of these type of things are over.
I'm not sure Mike Fong actually did it before, but I know, John, you went through the process. You fill up the form, and that is a huge waste of time, correct?
Yeah, waste of time. You have to fill up your cash flow projections and all that. I mean, a lot of guys, you wouldn't really be bothered about all these technicalities and whether you meet the requirements, and all you have is like a great idea and I want to push this out. I think it's monetizable as well. But then you get caught up in the paperwork, and it takes about 2 or 3 months before you find out whether you got the grant or not. And by then, you actually could have pushed out the product. 100 days. That's about 3 months, isn't it?
You could have been like testing the waters by then.
Yeah, exactly.
Not only that, they actually have strict guidelines to the schedules. You must actually achieve your milestones. If you actually finish it earlier, they won't give you more grant money.
Yeah, which is ridiculous. It's like you're not encouraged to finish quickly.
Yeah.
Yes. So
Ridiculous.
you're encouraged to burn slowly and painfully for 1 year while waiting for. I guess that's also one of the reasons why we see a lot of Asian startup failures, because of all this thing in place that want to utilize the money longer and etc. I can't remember. Does the IGEM fund, does it has a timeline to it?
No, actually, there's no timeline to it. Because of the sort of the way the fund is dispensed. But I think in the next version, it will be slightly different, I guess.
Any indication what will we see?
I think they're going to increase the scale of the financing. That means going into a second round, and maybe sort of become sort of a filter for the NRF scheme, basically. So they're trying to mesh everything up now.
All right.
Okay, so in the sense that we'll definitely announce more stuff for Grey Ethic really soon. For those who are interested to apply, you can actually go to greyethic.com. It's GREYATTIC.com.
Yes, I already tweet the plug for you already. So congratulations, Daniel.
Well, it's one step anyway. And for those who want to know exactly why Grey Attic, we didn't come up with a name. We just asked around who has a spare company spare website. We just decided to use it. So there's no romantic story to it. It's like why Grey Attic?
It's
Right.
great though. I mean, ethic being stuff that you store, until you want to use it, and gray being gray area, you don't know what you're doing and stuff like that. So yeah,
Yeah, Daniel. Yeah, that's how you spin a story, man.
exactly. You should ask us.
Oh well, okay.
Attic, you
Well-
store stuff, really? It's all
No,
in the
so-
head. The attic is your brain. Yeah.
Yeah, it's something like that. But the actual actual owner of Grey Attic is socialwalk.com.
Okay.
So Socialwalk, King News company,
Yep.
which does online ticketing and business matching solutions. It was their original company that they apply for MSC for their 150 pre-seed grant. And one of the stupid requirement, I have to say this, and one of the stupid requirement of MSC pre-seed grant for the 150,000 ringgit that you have to spend for a year, you need to spend a portion of that money to apply for a new company and apply for MSC status, which costs about altogether is like 5,000 for MSC status, 2,500 for a new company. So that's why Grey Attic was pretty much an endowment. Yeah, so we are sort of recycling what the
Recycling the money. Great.
yeah. So Grey Attic was registered earlier, then they have to register social works on Grabber, which is kind of waste of money. So we're now using Grey Attic for that sense. So that is the slightly more romantic version of. Well, shall we take a break and take a sip?
Okay. Sounds
Sounds
good.
good.
All right.
We're gonna go off. We cannot go off air and discuss other things because we are still live.
Hi.
It's an arbitrary break. Yeah.
So don't go away. We will talk among ourselves and then we'll come back and like.
Blah 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 blah. Blah blah. Charlie Brown's parents. Blah 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 blah.
Don't go hop over to Ustream now and watch Tiger Bird. Don't do that now.
Oh, why do you have to tempt us? Okay.
Oh
You
my
see-
god. Okay. Tiger Blood. Okay. Next.
Moving on.
Next few story is the Amazon Cloud in Tokyo, Startup Japan, and the Baidu investment. That's all.
Okay.
Nothing much. So,
Cool.
so
Let's
okay.
start up. Okay.
Okay, we're on in 3, 2, 1. Hey, welcome back to This Week in Asia, episode 86. In the virtual studio today, we have the IT channel Podcast Asia, which is Mike Fong's other alter ego, and also
Right.
we have, of course, Mike Fong himself as Mike Fong.
Hey.
We have another Mike, Smitty, as like what he likes us to call him. Smitty, should we get Groove Monkey on or something?
He's still drinking his wine, so yeah, let's move on.
Okay. Yeah, and then we have Mr. John Lim,
Hello.
and Dr. Bernard Leong. Hey, John,
Hi.
just before we start,
What
you were at a blogger Maxis event. What was it about?
It's nothing much. The big wigs just wanted to talk about, what could we make better about, our customer feedback, what's wrong with us, how can we make Maxis better, etc., etc. It's nothing more than just a blogger get together, I guess. No new announcements, nothing much, just food and drinks, I guess.
Maxis is going to carry the Samsung Galaxy S, I think.
Ah. Oh, okay.
Sorry. No, the Nexus S. I'm sorry. So, any news on that?
No, they didn't announce anything on the Nexus S, so keep track of that, I guess. I don't know. Nexus. Are you excited about Nexus S?
I'm actually looking forward for the near field communication right behind, because I think there's a lot of interesting usage for it. Yeah, but and of course, being an Android user, wanted to see whether it has a longer battery life than what I have at this point in time.
Time to change
Gingerbread.
your Nexus, man.
Yeah, gingerbread totally killed everything. Gingerbread totally killed my battery life for the Nexus.
Ooh, talking about software upgrades. What about 4.3 iOS? Does anyone?
Love
I just done it. I
Ah,
just done it for the iPad and the iPhone. It's pretty good.
so what's the big changes in terms of software side? I guess anything noticeable? What?
Well, actually, one of the things I want to do is actually to get the GarageBand and the iMovie app for the iPad. So
I
that's
don't
one
think
of
you
the
can run
things
it
I
on the
want
old
to.
iPad.
They only run on the new iPad.
They only run it on the new one, so I have to wait for the new iPad 2 to come out then. But I think there were some upgrades in terms of fixes. I think for 4.3, for the iPhone. I think is much more interesting.
I think
On
the
this side.
hotspot thing.
Yeah, hotspot thing is on. Yeah.
Obviously, the Android people.
I don't get the personal hotspot thing seriously. I mean, what's the big deal?
Because now I can
Don't
have
need to-
I have an iPad that doesn't have 3G, so I just turn on my hotspot and my iPad works everywhere, right?
Yeah, but it drains battery life, so you need a second battery or third battery, and then you're still carrying more devices than you are if you just buy a 3G iPad, which doesn't add so much more.
That's where the iPad comes in. I mean, the iPad has like legendary battery life, and so if you turn it into a hotspot, with the iPad 3G, that is like going to be a long running thing, and it's really
No,
convenient.
I don't think the iPad can do the hotspot. The iPhone.
yeah, the
can do
iPad-
hotspot.
Can they?
Oh, the
Yeah, I
iPad-
heard the iPad can't. I heard it.
No,
I
I-
don't.
Well,
I remember what.
Bernard
Nope.
can try it.
What do you want me to try?
Oh well, when
Hotspot on the personal hotspot on the iPad.
I guess
It
you
doesn't
can.
look like it. Is it?
Well, I'll give it a
Uh,
shot later once I get the time to do some stuff. Yep.
Hmm.
And then I'll come back with feedback maybe next week about this personal hotspot thing. Is it really that great?
I mean, it's a
Yeah.
convenience to have, isn't it? I mean, it's better than having no hotspot, and then you have to get a MiFi device, which you have to plug into a laptop.
So,
It's not like you're gonna sit and use it for 2 hours. What it
Yeah.
means is I can go to Starbucks and rather than like try to use crappy wireless at SG or pay money or have a stupid dongle, I just toggle the thing on my phone. I used it for like an hour today. I didn't notice the battery going crazy any more than if I had Wi-Fi on, right? So I don't think it's that bad, and it's slick because it gives you a unique name automatically, and then you just join it to your iPad and you're done. So I think it's handy. I mean, I was using that on my Android all the time. That was actually the only thing I missed from my Android when I got the iPhone was the hotspot.
yeah, exactly.
So I think it's.
I mean,
I don't think it becomes your primary way of doing everything on the internet, but it's pretty cool to have.
and it's also similar like how you use the BlackBerry and you use a cable to connect to your computer to
Yeah,
get
exactly.
internet access. Yeah, this
Yeah.
is much more.
I don't know. My thing is just get the 3G on the iPad or whatever. I mean, you don't need don't need anything
I
else.
guess so. I just think
Yeah.
it's cheaper to get the one without, and then if you travel a lot, it's not like that works anyway, right? So, yeah, I mean, it's just a nice thing to have. I haven't noticed any other big changes. They changed some settings for the iPod so you can control what the switch does.
It's fine.
Switch or mute.
Yeah.
I think that's handy.
Oh.
Everything seems a little.
Well, I
snappy.
haven't asked.
I was
I haven't
reading
asked.
it. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just about to ask you whether are you buying the iPad 2. I mean, I got.
Well, I only
John is not-
ordered the current iPad when they went on sale. Actually, if you look, the iPad prices in Singapore are now cheaper than the refurbished iPad prices in America. So I just bought one because they're on sale. So, and then now I felt like I can't live without it. But the other things that I noticed are the WebKit's been drastically sped up, and the JavaScript engine is, I think, one of the fastest out there now. It's faster on iPad too, but they've redone it everywhere, and I've noticed the web pages are snappier.
Yep.
Yep.
So I think it's handy. I mean, I think all this stuff, and this is interesting because Gruber was talking about this today. Is most of the stuff is just very incremental, very nice refinements, right? There's nothing amazingly different about it, but I think that it's a nice refinement. So.
Yeah. Did I tell you that I actually had hands-on with the BlackBerry Playbook?
Oh.
Where was that? mean, you've actually seen one in the wild?
Yeah.
Exactly. Today I was at a Adobe event. They were actually doing an Adobe refresh, talking about how Flash now can deploy to multiple devices directly from one single code, and that story seems like they're talking Java again.
Yeah, but the rumor is now that like they saw the iPads out, they've slowed it down.
Nope.
They don't. Well, that BlackBerry realizes that they were competing with the first iPad maybe pretty well, but now if you look at the second iPad, they're not at all. And then the other rumor is that it might just be able to run Android apps rather than try to build their own. Like we've actually been working with them, and they want us to build a playbook app for Copral, and it keeps changing. Like they're saying, oh, do Adobe Air, or then they say, do this one thing and they'll convert it, and then another guy was saying, do it with HTML. Like they won't give you a straight and then they said they'd build it for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that isn't going to scale. I mean, it's good for Copral, but it's not going to scale if they got to go build a bunch of apps for people, right?
Sorry.
The developer model for all this stuff is too hard, and this is what people don't talk about. The reason Apple and Android are winning is because they've nailed the developer story very, very well. If you read that post, one guy wrote a post about he's given up on developing for the playbook, and it's just hilarious.
Agree.
I mean, it kills you when you read this thing.
Right.
He's basically saying like, it took him a half a morning to get everything configured to even get to the point of doing it, and then they want like $300 to get on the app development thing, and that only gets you like 2 apps, right? And then the reality was he could never get the development environment up and running.
So today they came out full force. They actually shipped a couple of BlackBerry devices to the Adobe event.
Like I'm saying this about the playbook because I think it's a flawed strategy of RIMs. I actually think BlackBerries are kicking ass, and now obviously they're getting pushed to a different market, but I just don't think that the playbook is what's shining about RIM right now, to be honest.
Yeah, but what it came out today is because there's a very close, tight relationship, and looks like that the what it was kind of announced or spoken today was that BlackBerry is going to go full force with Air, and the apps that I've seen on Playbook were actually basically Air-based applications. The whole thing was snappy, but Flash being Flash, it still had that little lag within it, on top of that,
you see that their chief marketing officer is leaving now, right?
Yeah.
And they say it's because of the playbook shit, but
yeah. Well, I know that there's still a long way to go. Today I actually tested it. The UI it's not as snappy as what you see on the iPad, definitely, but they have potential. They have very good potential on how they actually manage the apps and all that today, and it's full symmetrical multiprocessing, and you don't see the apps lagging when it's playing. Doesn't see it lagging at all. You can see 5 to 10 application running at a background. Endurance, it really has that, but again, responsiveness is slightly not as good, but it's still not a production unit yet, so they say they're going to enhance it a bit more.
They're not surprised.
Yeah, it's on my blog. I just took a video of it and played around with it at the same time.
I mean, it's already March. I mean, they announced the playbook in what? Freaking December, isn't it? Or was it November last year?
Well, that's the thing, and like it's one thing if this was, what we're talking about is the current iPad and maybe the Zoom, which I don't think is that impressive either. But now you're talking iPad 2. You look at the price points. It's just here's the link. It's called, you can Google it. It's called Win You RIM. You Win RIM. And it's very detailed account of trying to build basic playbook apps starting from scratch, and it's almost comical. You want to poke your eyes out when you read this thing. I mean, it's
what the Adobe guys did today was fantastic. They actually took a existing Flash game, which is developed by the evangelist himself, Paul Burnett. He just took the app that he was developing, which is a car foosball game where you actually take the Flash application, deployed it onto a TV, deployed it onto a Android device, deployed it to a BlackBerry device, live on stage, and it worked. And it's really kind of interesting how that has happened.
Yeah, but those kind of things, meaning the app must be optimized in a way. Adobe already
So this guy, no, the Adobe, when they were doing it, they were actually deploying on an iPhone app, same application, his same screen. He has not moved. Same screen. He deployed it on the iPhone, deployed it to the Android, and he deployed it to the Playbook. Same app, same app. It's I mean, it's interesting that I mean,
No, I think there's opportunity for them, right?
Yep.
But I think it's taking too long to get it out in front of people, and then they're competing with essentially what Palm's going to try to do now. So, but I'm wondering if, they're not Apple when it comes to their diligence and their capabilities. So what I'm wondering is this taking away from the fact that they need to keep kicking ass on the phone, because I don't really think they're Apple when it comes to they can be a tablet guy and a phone guy when their phone market's under threat, right?
yeah, it looks like they're giving away their BlackBerry Messenger as well. So yeah.
Which that's to me an interesting ecosystem, and it'll be interesting to see. They're going to launch the new BlackBerry Messenger in 6, which allows people to develop on top of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, and I actually think this is where RIM has some really cool stuff, and I'm hoping that they push it, because I just don't know if they're going to be able to compete across all these segments, right? I don't think Palm's going to be able to either, to be honest with you. But now what HP's saying is that may become an OS for their PCs.
Yep.
Which that's going to be interesting.
That's the reverse strategy of Apple, basically.
Yeah. Fun stuff.
Yeah. Enough tablets, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, then let's move to the cloud.
All right.
Yes, AsiaGen announced that Amazon Cloud Next landing on Tokyo, Japan. So AWS just announced on 2nd March they added Tokyo data center as the 5th in the world, 2nd in Asia after Singapore. So most of you guys are pretty familiar with AWS, correct? AWS is a cloud service by Amazon, which they use their additional band. Originally, it started as they use their additional server and bandwidth space that they are not utilizing when they sell it out, and it's kind of become kind of integral part of what Amazon is doing for.
I think Amazon's like run away with this market, right? That's what it
Yes.
feels like to me. I've heard rumors that Google actually doesn't continue to see App Engine as being a focus for themselves, because commercially, Amazon's learned how to make money on this thing, right? So this to me, like when I look at any of the cloud stuff and the capability, Amazon's got this thing nailed, right? And it just keeps getting better and better.
Yeah, you know the guy. What is his name? Simon, a guy evangelist for Amazon in Singapore.
I don't know him. I've heard of him, but I've never met him. Yeah.
Yeah, we should get him on the show. I mean,
Does anybody have a contact with him?
Yeah, me. I got him over in Open Web Asia the last time.
Hey, Daniel, you should get him on the show.
Yeah, I know. I was actually thinking of getting him on the show. And also, they've been doing a great job, and I think they are giving away some free Amazon service credits to winners of Echelon, and they've been trying to promote this heavily around. So yeah, it's really interesting to see what Amazon is doing, especially this.
So why is it important that Amazon actually makes it to Tokyo at this point in time?
Well, because I think you want the cloud, like for the cloud stuff to work, the pieces of the cloud need to be maybe where you are, right? Otherwise, you pay a performance price on all this stuff.
Yep.
It's all about
This is
reducing
no
the
different than like what one of the problems RIM has right now, and a lot of people don't realize this. Like if you use your BlackBerry in Singapore, and let's say you're talking like you're using our native app and you're talking to our product, you're actually going over to North America because that's how the RIM servers work. And then the RIM servers are coming back into like say Singapore, grabbing that information and then going back around, right? So it's an interesting system when it comes to security and stability, but it's inefficient in the network. So what Amazon has to be able to do is put these clouds kind of wherever they plan on making a big business bet, right?
Right. So infrastructure is one thing where you actually move it closer to your endpoints, which actually allows you to have better performance of what you want to do. But on top of that, I mean, I'm sure because there are so many utilities to configure, to extend, and to buy services. Are they ready? Is Amazon ready in terms of transforming their entire Elastic Cloud or the Amazon Web Services to a Japanese language? And I'm sure they have a lot of technical things that will go through before that.
Amazon is actually pretty big in Japan itself as a
Mm.
bookstore, so I don't really see a problem with that. And they,
I can add to that actually. Actually, there's a lot of Japanese customers already on Amazon Web Services. So what happened? What happened was that they were actually surprised when AWS went to Singapore first.
I see.
So what they did now is basically because of the increasing usage of AWS in Japan, so they decided to build another one there, basically.
So this is their second Asian
Yeah.
outlet, right?
Correct. So I spoke to somebody from Amazon because my company uses Amazon, so we do a lot of like just to check out the services or any interesting ways of maybe saving costs and etc. So we talk a little bit about the usage in around the whole of Asia. So Japan is probably one of the highest usage now. Yeah, and I think Singapore and Malaysia as well. Yeah.
that's I know a lot of the up and coming startups in Malaysia are actually using Amazon.
Yeah, it's pretty standardized, I think, even for Japanese usage. Because I remember in the conference I attended last year, everybody is using the AWS cloud. So it's something like it's just typical.
Okay, John, anything there?
No, I'm good.
Yeah. I mean, the companies that you interview are pretty familiar with AWS, also, correct?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, companies are interview. I mean, most of them, even the iPhone apps and all that, the developers are doing. They just upload it to AWS as as a cloud service. So I mean, having a center closer to Singapore, I guess that does help. Spur on a lot of inventions. But I just wonder, is Amazon looking where else next? I guess is it Malaysia?
No, they actually have a lot of dealings with KL, I think.
Oh, they do?
It's around the region. Yeah, it's around the region.
Okay.
APAC is
They have a
APAC.
lot in China too.
All right.
Yeah. So it's not just Singapore. I think the
Oh.
Singapore center is just servicing the whole of Southeast Asia at
It's-
least.
Yeah,
Mm.
I think we need to get Simon on the show. And
Yeah.
actually, there was a guy who used to do who wanted to do a ad network for podcast. What is his name? I can't remember.
Jeremy Snyder, right?
Yeah, Jeremy
Yeah,
Snyder.
he's now working as one of the tech sales guys for Amazon. yeah.
That's-
So yeah, we should get him on at some point. Yeah.
okay. So, well, this is going to be interesting for John Lim especially.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, why not? Advertisers and money. Why not?
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't talking about that. I was talking about there's a over in Penn Olsen, there's a startup Japan database for in English. So John can actually look at some of the startups and interview for his E27.
Ooh, okay. I will do.
Yes. Speaking of E27, it seems like it's like a John Lim's blog.
No, it's not. I just I just contribute like 3 or 4 stories or like 5 stories a month probably. Not that much. Yeah, but I mean, uncovering startups in Malaysia not as easy as I thought it would be. Cause a lot of people don't want to trumpet their own horns here. I don't know why. So you have to like go down to all these small events and grassroots events to uncover this new startup ideas. It's very strange.
Yeah. I think it's sort of maybe because they sort of it's not completed, so they needed to wait for some time to get the press coming and then.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, yeah. The thing is, it's like the press are approaching you. You have to dig up the stories a little bit more, go a little bit deeper, rather than you hearing it on the street, picking up ideas and all that. So, yeah, you just kind of go down into the grassroots level. It's one of those inferiority complexes thing. I don't know. That's me that was talking about earlier. We just kind of don't have enough faith in our products, to publicize it to the world.
But you're not going to interview Japanese startup?
Not at the moment. I'm just looking at the story right now.
Well, you can actually go to startups-japan.com and have a look at all the startups. I think this is probably a WordPress or a Drupal install. I'm not exactly too sure, but it's quite a good list actually. It has the Japanese theme, and the somewhat of an English description about what the startups do. And
Okay.
I mean, this is also really good for our audience who wants to know what are stuff going on in Japan, and besides Mixi, etc., anything new. No? So
Alright.
this is going to be a
Um,
good resources.
Yeah, and talking about uncovering startups as well in KL, I think there's going to be a KL leg of the Echelon event in Zouk. I think it's on April 11th to 12th, if I'm not
Is it
mistaken.
confirmed? Have I confirmed Zoom? Or?
Yeah, it's in Zouk.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So if you're in KL, you want to find out, what's latest in the startup scenes, drop by.
Oh yeah, I think there is still the application is still open, right? Because there's
Yep.
Well, it's not.
Yeah. So it's in April. It's in April. I can't confirm the date. Let me just get the date first. Yeah, it'll probably be online by the time we get this up.
All right, and the lastly, actually, I do not know how to pronounce this. Bernard, can you see the name Anjunka?
Junta? What's that?
The Pan Ocean story. Basically completed a 50 million financing led by Baidu.
Oh,
How-
Anjuke, I think, is if it's the Chinese. Anjuke, sorry. That's how it's pronounced. It's
What
a
is-
sort of a real estate piece. I think it's something
I
like
call it Juke just to make it easy.
well, Anjuke is the correct way of pronouncing it. Anyway, it's something to do with
It's a
real estate marketplace. Something along the lines of how real estate is driving the whole of growth of China now. So, and this is probably I haven't actually been to the website, but it's apparently the most popular online marketplace for second-hand residential properties there. And they also do things like property rental and property sales. Sounds a little bit like Property Guru in Singapore.
Yeah, it is actually. The I guess the
So
funny
Property Guru should be snapping shot this and say, "This is my badge of honor. I have a clone in China." We just raised 50 million.
That's the funny thing is that basically I don't see Baidu actually doing much investment outside of other stuff. But this is actually
But why do they need to? They just need to invest internally. I mean, there's rumors been saying that they're going to be launching Facebook for them, right?
yes.
Yeah, there's a big rumor that's ongoing, and even Facebook has actually sort of took down the Facebook account of a Chinese dissident, and it got into Guardian yesterday, I think.
Well, Robin, the CEO and founder of Baidu, had lunch with Mark Zuckerberg in China. So
No, but that's more than that. I think there were additional rumors from TechCrunch saying that there were Baidu executives flying into Silicon Valley and
Yeah.
go to
Yeah.
Facebook. So it's been
Yeah,
this
and
love
I
has been
heard that-
ongoing.
Mark eats Chinese food.
He has a Chinese girlfriend,
Yeah, I know. I'm just.
and he speaks Mandarin, by the way.
He
oh,
does.
does it
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does.
like fluently or just he speaks in code?
Well, apparently he went and take up Chinese lessons because of the girlfriend. That's why I read from TechCrunch and Valleywag.
Okay, I don't really care about that, but
Yeah, we don't care about that. But what we really care about is whether Facebook is going to launch in China. That's what I'm more interested to know. Because they are sort of taking down the accounts of some of the activists and basically letting the whole thing, Yeah.
Okay, well, when Facebook is announced in China, and that will be a big coup, and
Yeah. That's the only way they can get their 60 billion valuation, by the way. 62 billion. Sorry.
Yeah.
you guys saw the map, right, where Facebook is prominent around the world, and there's
Yeah.
like whole blank space in China.
Of course. They can never be in China because they're blocked in China, right?
Justin Bieber said never
Yeah,
say
never say never, correct. Well, you're quoting Justin Bieber now. Are we becoming some boy band or something like that?
Well, there is a host. There's a guest I'm trying to get for This Week in Asia, which is a big Justin Bieber fan. So
Brian Wong, is it?
no, it's a girl. It's
Okay.
gonna be a big surprise.
Okay. We shall keep that surprise. Shall we
I
wrap
know
this
it's not Sarah Lacey, although she's finished. Yeah.
She's here, by the way. Hi, welcome, Sarah, if you're listening in.
Yeah. Sarah asked
she's
for
where?
more drinks, but she's in Jakarta.
Oh.
again?
Yeah. Yeah, so she said she does South by Southwest is not her thing, and everyone is heading to South by Southwest. She flies to Jakarta.
Right. So she passing
I
by
applaud her.
Singapore.
No, she's not. But we'll try to get her on. We're trying to get her on the next round. Yeah. So I guess that's all for this week. Uh, so where can we find you, Smitty?
Me right now?
Yeah, I mean,
Thanks.
you're in Singapore. Or,
I am in Singapore.
yeah.
Next week I'll be in Jakarta, so maybe we could try to connect with Sarah and her and I can get in person and get online.
Yep.
Oh.
Cool. Nice. And Michael,
You can get me at mikefung.com or mikefung anywhere, and it's probably me.
is there any new podcast out?
No, not yet. Just this one and A Channel and A Channel Weekly and A Channel Daily. So yeah, that's about all.
Yeah, I have an idea. I want to talk to you later about that. But
Sure.
but yeah, fine.
Wow, your incubator is starting now even. Yeah.
Yeah. John, besides E27, where most of the articles that I read actually are you.
Nah. Well, I'm on e27.sg. I'm on the LOL show. It's a live online show about, we talk about the web and social media. I'm also on TechBeat as well. That's another podcast I do, and all the other stuff that I do. You just go to about.me/john.lim and you'll find all my links there. Yep.
Okay, that's nice.
About.me.
Wow.
I'll give you guys another one later. But and Dr. Leong, besides on TechCrunch these days.
BernardLeong.com and my Twitter ID at BLeongCW. Then you can find me definitely at Chalkboard. Yeah.
Our as how she would like to call it, Chulin is actually in INSEAD today, which is a prestigious MBA for entrepreneur school. And so there's nothing much. And just like to wish all our friends at South by Southwest have fun and get some tiger blood.
Tiger blood.
Glug.
Okay. Catch up maybe next time.
All right.
All right. So I'm Daniel Cervantes. You can get me at cervantes.com. And you can, if you like the show, please actually we'd like your feedback over at iTunes or whichever you get our show from. All right.
Okay.
Thank you. See you
Catch
guys.
you later.
Bye.
Thanks for listening in. Bye.
Bye.
Later.